Haribol devotees of Lord Krishna and friends and subscribers. I just wanted to make a video about the A1, A2 idea because it is an idea. It's a theory and a hypothesis. So I want you to think a little bit before you accept something like that because it's quite a hype and it's been a hype for the last 25 years. So I'm going to read some quotes that I've gathered from different sites and different sources, and you think for yourself. You think about it carefully before you make a life decision or before you make a decision about the lives of cows based on a theory or a hypothesis. Because you could be making a life decision based on something that isn't even true. So the A2, A1 idea is based on experiments funded by the A2 company, owned by billionaire farmer Howard Patterson and scientist McLachlan. So in March 2019, a class action lawsuit was filed against the A2 Milk Company for allegedly misleadingly marketing A2 milk products and making big claims about their A2 milk without any substantial proof. First of all, the conclusions of all the studies done on A1, A2 proteins in milk are only a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a supposition or a proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation. In other words, the A1, A2 idea is only a theory. More data on animal as well as human trials is required to support the A1, A2 hypothesis, especially legally or in court. You see, this A2 milk company has avoided having its health claims tested in court. The courts say there is no convincing or even probable evidence that the A1 beta-casein of cow milk has any adverse effect in humans. This review has been independent of examination of evidence related to A1 and A2 milk by the Australian and New Zealand Food Standard and Food Safety Authorities, which have not published the evidence they have examined and the analysis of it. They stated in 2003 that no relationship has been established between A1 or A2 milk and diabetes, CHD, or other diseases. So what the heck is A1, A2? What is that? So there are two main places where proteins are derived from in milk. Casein, the curd, the cheese part, and the whey. And the third part of the milk is the butter, but we're not talking about the butter here. This is all about the proteins. Okay, and it's specifically about the white casomorphine, the casein protein that's in curd. So when you digest the curd proteins break down. So casomorphine is an opioid peptide, a protein fragment, and it actually means what it sounds like, opioid, like opium. It has a relaxing effect on you. So that's just the natural nature of milk. It has that protein in it. So according to the A2 scientists, the A2 company scientists, A1 milk from cows that have mutated to A1 8,000 years ago, when it digests in your small intestines, it breaks down and becomes BCM7. Now there's a lot of BCMs. They're beta-casomorphines. They are in the casein, the protein, and there's BCM5, BCM11, BCM8, but BCM7 is particularly the one that they say comes from the mutant A1 gene that causes disease, and that their milk only has A2 milk, which does not break down to BCM7 and therefore does not cause disease, and it's healthy. However, BCM7 is in human milk with higher concentrations of it in colostrum. So That doesn't sound right at all. These guys who made a ton of money, who are billionaires, are saying that BCM7, which is a natural component that comes from protein fragments that is in human milk and that has been in some cow's milk for their speculation of 8,000 years, which is like before Krishna came on this planet. Anyway, you think about that. Oh, and human BCM7 is very similar to bovine cow BCM, or all the BCMs, not just BCM7. And that BCM, or beta-casomorphine, is really awesome. It's an awesome thing. It's involved in learning and memory processes. And it gives you the feeling of being satiated or sated and peaceful. Anyway, I want to get to the really juicy part about this, about examining this this idea of that A1 protein and BCM7 are harmful, and that A2 is the best, and that you should only buy from their company, A2 company. So, most of the studies on animals with BCM7 were not administered orally, as humans would be exposed to them, but rather they were given to animals by injection into the peritoneal cavity. Okay, what is the peritoneal cavity? That is the outside of your stomach, between the other organs, okay? They injected it there, which even a child would say that is really dumb, okay? They injected it into the outside of the stomach, or even directly into the spinal cord or brain, which makes these studies not useful for understanding how BCM7 might affect humans. So first of all, they take the A1 protein, they isolate it, then they isolate BCM7, which doesn't even come naturally in a human unless the human first digests, and it digests the A1 protein in their small intestine. So they take it, they isolate it, and then they inject it on the outside of the stomach. Like, that is so dumb. Don't you think that is dumb? And then they inject it into the spinal cord and the brain of the mice. That is, first of all, it's cruelty to test, like, I can't remember, it was maybe 60 rabbits. And many mice. They dissected them, they injected them into their spines and their brains, which is totally dumb. That's really stupid. Another point is that they tested rabbits. Okay, rabbits' natural food is grasses and leaves and things. So when you give them milk products, it's not going to make them feel good. Even a calf that's been weaned, if you give a calf that's been weaned milk, that calf will get diarrhea, will be sick, could even die, because it stopped having the ability to digest milk, because it's been weaned, it's been not drinking milk for a long time. So you're isolating BCM7, which is a fragment of a protein, and you're injecting it into the brains and the outer covering of the stomach and the spinal cords of animals to see what would happen. Even if you injected fresh raw milk into someone's spinal cord, don't you think that would be weird? Don't you think they'd get a bad reaction? Like, hello, food is digested in the stomach. And how are you supposed to get a good result, a test result, to see how BCM7 affects humans if you're injecting it into animals, into their different body parts, and then dissecting their brains and cutting them up and looking inside of them to see? Like, that is so dumb, okay? That's just right there. That's just too dumb. Then listen to this. On the whole, it is interesting to see that there is no single human study which establishes the causative risk of BCM7 on human health. This is remarkable, given the fact that it has been almost 25 years since the debate started. Further, most research that is pro-A2 has been supported by the A2 Milk Corporation, which is a private entity holding patents on A2 genetic testing. Patents on A2 genetic testing. So you can't even test the A2 yourself. You can't label your milk A2. If you get, like we've gotten our cows tested before for A2, and we had some A2 cows and some A1 cows, and some people couldn't even digest the A2 cow's milk as much as they could digest the A1 cow's milk. So anyway, that was our own experiment. But anyway, you can't even label your milk. If you're selling milk and you tested your cows and they have A2 milk, you can't even label your milk without paying them money because they have the patent. They own the A2 company. They invented A2. So there have been studies involving humans that were published in 2014 and 2016. The 2014 study, one of whose authors is Dr. Woodford K. He's a former stakeholder of A2 Milk Corporation till 2007. He had observed positive association between A1 milk and abdominal pain. However, the authors themselves conclude that there is a need for larger confirmation of participants as the sample size was only 41 people only, of which only 10 reported intolerance to commercial cow milk upon administration of 750 milliliters a day. So, a former stakeholder of A2 Milk Corporation, I have to say that again because he was connected to the company when he did this study, that A1 milk caused abdominal pain. So he gathered apparently 41 people. He gathered them from China, collected them from China. They agreed to do this test, and only 10 people out of the 41 people reported intolerance to commercial cow milk. First of all, commercial cow milk is not all A1 milk. A lot of the commercial cows are A2, but most people don't test their cows because they don't really care. They don't care about that. However, one farmer decided to test his cows to see. He was curious, and he found that 50% of his herd were A2. So ruminate on that for just a minute. Just think about it, okay? Does that really sound like science? Does that sound authentic? Does that sound bona fide? You're gonna kill the A1 cows in your herd if you're a farmer so that you can have A2 cow's milk because of this kind of study? Don't you think that's a little bit dumb? Anyway, I just wanted to show a few points, and if you want to find out more, there's so much more to talk about on this subject, but I don't want to make a long video, so you think about this and make your own conclusions. You can dig into it more, but I don't want to make this video too long. So, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Jai Shri Gurudev.